On today's episode, we talk with the only person to ever complete the Tough Mudder Holy Grail in a wheelchair and her business partner, Jesi Stracham and Brandon Winfield. This is the world's toughest podcast. Welcome to the world's toughest podcast, where we talk about any obstacle course race you'd like, as long as that's world's toughest mudder. Each week we talk to members of the WTM community and share stories of success and failure in the single greatest event in OCR. My name is Will Hicks, and this is the world's toughest podcast. Welcome back to World's Toughest Podcast. Thank you for listening. You are too kind. My name is Will Hicks. You're listening to the number one rated obstacle course racing podcast in the world because of listeners like you. Thanks, guys. Today in our show, we are going to talk with Jesi Stracham again. Jesi, we talked with her, it was about 2 years ago, 2.5 years. We talked with her. She had just finished her first World's Toughest Mudder in a wheelchair. And since then, she's done it again. And that first year, she did her Holy Grail also. Still the only person to ever do the Holy Grail, Tougher Mudder, Toughest Mudder, and World's Toughest Mudder in a wheelchair. So very excited to talk with her, kind of get an update from her, and then just a couple things she's working on with her foundation, Wheel With Me, and then with a couple of iPhone apps that she's working with and partnering with. We'll talk about that, kind of see how you can help out if you would like. Before we start, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at World's Toughest Podcast. You can email me at willhicks@gmail.com. And you can leave a review for the show on Apple Podcasts. Go to lovethepodcast.com/tough. lovethepodcast.com/tough. And even if you already left a review, you can leave another one. There's 3 or 4 different ways you can leave a review at that website, lovethepodcast.com/tough. Before we talk with Jesi and Brandon, let's do some news. I don't know about you, but I have basically written off 2020. There's some virtual stuff we're doing. I'm going to run 24 hours virtual World's Toughest Mudder first week in November. I'm doing the Tough Mudder virtual challenges. But as far as real races, there are some. We talked about them last week. There are some races out there. There was the Hildervat last weekend in Jacksonville. Savage Race has been doing some races. Savage Race still has one more on the schedule in Florida. There's Deca Fit for days, which aren't races necessarily, but they are competitions. But for traditional mud running, OCR, going over walls, going under barbed wire, getting dirty, that kind of racing, the options are very few and far between, especially in the U.S. Not just in the U.S., obviously, worldwide. So for me, I am looking forward toward 2021. I have the Tough Mudder calendar on the wall here in my office. I have the Spartan calendar for next year on the wall in my office. I'm busy plotting out my first race of the year. So my first race of the year is also going to be what my last race of this year was, which was in March. It was the weekend of March 7th and 8th, like right before the world blew up. And it is a 24-hour trail race. It's the same weekend this year in March, and it's a 24-hour race, and it's running. There's no obstacles, but that is what I am planning on. First week of March, I'm hoping stuff is starting to get back to normal. You know what? We're talking here in October, and I know no one listens to an OCR podcast to get the latest COVID talk, right? So anyway, I'm hoping. I was planning on my first race being back in September. I was back in, April. We're like, yeah, and I'll be taken care of by September, which clearly has not happened. So anyway, that'll be my first race. What is your first race going to be? What are you looking forward to? Are you going to, in January, Spartan is back. Like if you're aching to get to Spartan, January. If you are looking forward to the first Tough Mudder of the year, April, Tajon Ranch. It'll be you can do tougher, toughest, and a regular tough all in the same weekend. The Unholy Grail, they call it. So I'll be there at Tajon Ranch. I'll be at the Pirates Cove 24-hour trail race. You can find me there if you're interested. You might even have to fly out here to, if you want to be at the first Spartan and the first Tough Mudder, both in Southern California in January and April. I have flown 4 times since March of this year. With the whole deal, wearing a mask. Well, 8 times there and back. It's not ideal, but at least the planes are still running, right? When you are flying, really in today's world, when you are anywhere, but especially when you're flying, what is the one thing you don't joke about? If you're going through security or you're checking your bag at the counter and you're flying with a friend and that friend thinks he's hilarious and everyone else knows, like, sometimes he's moderately funny, but your friend thinks he's hilarious and he's going to do something stupid. What is the one thing you tell him? Do not joke about this. But not just the airport. At the movie theater. At the mall. At Home Depot.
Police responded to reports of a bomb threat at the store in Wichita. A customer alerted employees. A man inside the bathroom said there was a bomb in the building. Police were able to locate the man responsible for those comments, and that man told police he warned other guests to leave the restroom because he was, quote, fixing to blow it up, but had no intention of causing a panic. Man also told police others in the room laughed, understanding his joke, which I'm just now getting.
I know you run a lot and maybe you work out a lot and maybe you take protein drinks or a lot of beet supplements, but just don't make bomb jokes.
Fixing to blow it up.
You could do something else like, I showed that septic system who's in charge. Or, no, that's it. What has this show become?
Fixing to blow it up.
If you don't already, you should check out Obstacle Running Adventures, new episode number 199. Mike interviews Adrian Bijanata, the founder and CEO of Adventury, which runs the obstacle course racing world championships each year. Mike got a good long chat with Adrian, a big interview. So congratulations, Mike. That's number 199 for him as far as episodes, and number 200 is coming up this weekend. So if you are around on Sunday from 11 a.m. Pacific time or starting at 2 p.m. Eastern time, you should check out the OCR report on Instagram or Obstacle Running Adventures on Instagram and Facebook. They're doing a live episode for their 200th episode. Congratulations, Mike. 200. Well done. Let's read some iTunes reviews.
5 stars.
5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars. 5 stars.
In honor of Mike and Caitlin's 200th episode, I want to read one of their iTunes reviews. This comes from Kenny West. Kenny West writes, 5 stars. Great listening. Thank you very much for this podcast. No matter what level you are at with your running/OCR, you can always learn something. The two of you do a fantastic job. I always get excited every time a new episode comes out. Keep up the great work. Hope to meet you both one day soon. Also, thanks for not talking about politics. I don't think most people care about my beliefs, but I also don't like when other people try to shove their beliefs down my throat. Love and appreciate you both. Take care. Well done, Kenny West. Good job. And good job, Mike and Caitlin. Congratulations on episode 200. Here's to 200 more. That's like 4 more years, 200 episodes. So good luck with that, guys. Mike, I don't think Caitlin's going to put up with 200 more episodes. If you would like to leave a review for our show, go to lovethepodcast.com/tough. lovethepodcast.com/tough. And I will read it on a future episode. We've got something new that I'm excited about. If you would like to keep in touch with the show or keep in touch with me, or if you would like a text message when new episodes of World's Toughest Podcast drop, or when new episodes of the OCR Report drop, or if I am on another podcast, or I don't know, if you want, anyway, shoot me a text message at 619-485-2726. 619-485-2726. And I will shoot you. I go straight to my phone. This is like a new service that like I can keep in touch with listeners. And I'm very excited about it. 619-485-2726. And I will text you. Very excited about the world's toughest text. We're going to talk with Jesi Stracham and Brandon Winfield in a minute. But before we do, we're going to sum it up at the end. But if you're like, what can I do to help? I just want to like front load it and tell you. Download the Purposity app. Purposity, like purpose. Purposity. And search for Wheel With Me. That's Jesi's nonprofit that she runs. Download the Purposity app, follow Wheel With Me, and that's what they're asking you to do. They're not even asking for money. They're just asking you, hey, help us out with this. Second thing you can do is another app they're working with called iAccess. That's like a Yelp for accessibility, for handicapped accessibility. Are the doorways wide enough? Are there only stairs? That kind of stuff. So download iAccess, download Purposity. On Purposity, search for Wheel With Me. It's time to talk with Jesi Stracham and Brandon Winfield. Let's go to the phones. Jesi Stracham and Brandon Winfield, welcome to the show.
Ooh, thank you for having us.
So pumped to be here.
Jesi, you and I talked. I looked at my notes in February of 2018. I didn't realize it'd been that long.
Oh, I feel like COVID has been like a 2-year period. I feel like this year has just been so long. And it's crazy that 2018, gosh, I was getting ready for my second Worlds. And it feels like such a lifetime ago.
You are the only person to ever complete the Tough Mudder Holy Grail in a wheelchair. And that's kind of why we talked. You kind of shared your story. We'll link to the old episode if people want to hear about it. But how has your Tough Mudder journey been since then?
So I got another Holy Grail that year. I am I believe 10-time Tough Mudder now, which is, to be a wheelchair user and do my first Tough Mudder as a wheelchair user. To me, I think that's just so cool to be able to do so many events, have such a solid team of people. We have Terrence, who's a cop from Queens, my team leader, Sarah Fox, who's done numerous mudders. Of course, Eric Botsford. My horse carries me everywhere. I'm very thankful to have that solid core team that's really done a lot of these events with me. It's a family.
I have 0 Tough Mudders under my belt, so I think I need to pick it up and start doing that. I feel like not good. I need to do this now. I want to do that challenge.
Right now, Brandon, it's a tough time to find a good in-person event. So you're kind of off the hook for this year, but
I got time to prepare and get my team together then. So no excuse to come back around.
Train it up, and Jesi can take you one in 2021.
Yeah, I'll be ready.
So, Brandon, you and I have never talked before. Tell me about your story, how you got where you are right now.
Yeah, I grew up racing motocross. That was definitely my passion, and pretty much where I found my identity as a person was racing dirt bikes. I really loved the community of people there, and my whole goal was ever since I was a kid, I think I just wanted to be like Jeremy McGrath, one of my heroes in the sport. And my goal was to grow up and be professional and do that. And I really didn't have any other concept of what I was going to do in life. So I was very focused on that, and I ended up unfortunately getting hurt when I was 14 years old. I crashed at a race, and the bike ended up hitting me in the back. If it would have missed me, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you guys. I would have been all right and probably still racing. But the bike hit me in the back. It split my back in half right around the T7, T8 point, completely severed my spine. And I've been a T7 paraplegic ever since.
That's a little bit, that's different than Jesi's story. Jesi was a little older when she had her accident. How did that affect you as a 14-year-old, healthy, active kid? That's obviously a huge change. Like, what did that, like, just emotionally or mentally, how'd you deal with that?
I always say I was very lucky that I knew the risk of what I was doing. I wasn't like I was in a car accident that was somebody else's fault, or I was in the wrong place at the wrong time and doing something I shouldn't have, and that was my fault. I knew the risk of racing motocross. I'd broken collarbones and wrists and ankles and knees and done all that stuff before, and I knew it was always a possibility. At the time, it wasn't that common. A lot of people weren't really having cervical or spinal cord injuries at all. And it was crazy. Like, just how quickly it happened. I never would have thought in a million years that, that would have been the day. And it was tough at first. You're in a lot of pain. You're really uncomfortable. It really felt like my knees were bent in. Like if you were sitting in the back of a car that was really tight, it felt like my knees were just bent up like that the whole time for about 2 weeks, which was really uncomfortable. But I kind of took this resilience that I had from motocross and applied it to this. And I just wanted to go back to living my life. I didn't want anybody to treat me differently. I didn't want people to hold the door for me. I was always a very independent person. And so I just kind of took that and was like, all right, what are we going to do? How can I have fun? I still want to go hang out with girls. I want to be a good time. I want to go to parties. Like, I don't want to be left out of things. And that's kind of the attitude I took toward it. Of course, the first few years are tough. You have these up and down days where you just really can't believe this is your life, where you either fall out of bed or you fall trying to get to the shower or whatever it may be. You have to pick yourself up and you're just like, I can't believe this. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is real. And then, it's been 13 years pretty much for me now. And I've adjusted. I almost wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest. Of course, I love to walk again. That would be cool, but I'm in no rush to get out of this wheelchair. I love the community of people I've met. I run a great business now that's helping a whole bunch of people, and I think it all was for a reason, not to be cliche.
Preach it, Brandon. Preach it.
How do you get to that point? Like you said, the first couple of years were really tough, and now you're, as happy as you can be, I guess, in a chair.
Yeah.
Is there I don't know, like mentally, or how did you get to that point?
It came from a great support system. First of all, with my family. My family was really good. I was able to come home from the hospital and I didn't really have to do too much adjusting. My parents had moved my bedroom downstairs for me. They had built ramps so I could get in and out of the garage or the back door if I needed to. That my bathroom was accessible. So I didn't have to go through those hurdles and those challenges of having to figure out how I'm going to get in the shower or how I'm going to get out of the house without getting help, and so on and so forth. So you kind of take all the good things that you do have and you kind of apply those and go, hey, I'm really glad I'm not a quadriplegic. There's things that you're just kind of like, this could be worse, of course, or I could have a terminal brain injury and I could be a completely different person, or just whatever it is. And you kind of you take what you still have. And like I said, you do have those bad days. Some days things seem really unfair. It seems like everything's just going against you that day and like you can't get anything right and it sucks, but it happens. And really, it honestly took a lot of meditation for me. That really helped. I was always somebody that was in my head, and I really kind of created narratives that probably weren't true. And so doing 10 to 15 minutes of morning meditation just for gratitude and mindfulness and just things of that, or just how to start your day off right, has really kind of just calmed those things down. And I've really worked to start exercising again and giving myself a purpose and items to check off a list every day. And you just kind of progress, and you either go down the path of like, this sucks and nobody wants to be around you or hang out with you, or you go down the path of like, let's have a great time. And then you're the life of the party pretty much. Everybody's like stoked to see you out. Everybody wants to dance around you and be around you. And it's just cool. It really kind of, you can dictate your own life and your own energy by just being positive, essentially.
Jesi, I can see you saying amen over there. What are your thoughts on what Brandon just said?
Everything he said is completely accurate. Having the key support system. I always tell people, make friends in the wheel community. Having friends that understand exactly what you're going through is a complete game changer for this injury. You're willing to tackle it and overcome it and realize there's so much more you can do. And then, just putting your best foot forward, understanding that sometimes you have really crappy days where it's like, shit, this really sucks. But then you move forward from those and it's like, wow, this is sick. My life is so cool. I have so much opportunity because of this wheelchair. This wheelchair gives me so much perspective. Like my wheelchair I'm at a point, it's given me way more than it ever has taken away from me. And I feel very fortunate for that. And again, like the opportunities that it gives you, I mean, there's no words. Same as Brandon. I'm a business owner. I have a small fitness clothing line. I get to act. I get to travel as a motivational speaker. I get to help other people. I'm in the best shape of my life, physically and mentally. And like you said, that morning meditation, I wake up, my alarm goes off. I cuddle for 5 minutes with my husky. I do a 1 to 2 minute meditation or 1 to 3 minute meditation. And then I go straight into visualization. And I think about all the things where I want Wheel With Me Foundation to be, where I want my business to be, where I would like my acting career to be, where I want my education, where I see myself. And I visualize it. I see it. I feel it. And the more I do it, I've been practicing the visualization for about a month. And the more I do it, the more success that's just rapidly coming to me. It's unbelievable how powerful we are in creating our reality.
Okay, you said two things that I want to talk about, Jesi. One, you just said that your wheelchair has given you more than it's ever taken from you. That's pretty. That's you saying I'm glad this happened.
I mean, obviously, I wouldn't choose to get the perspective I've got through being a paraplegic, through having a spinal cord injury, through having a brain injury. I would not choose this path for my perspective, but it's the path I was given. So yeah, hands down, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that this is the path I'm giving. Look at this community I get. I go to it, like I told Brandon, I'm trying to get auditions in Atlanta because who do I stay with when I go to Atlanta? Brandon. I get to see my wheel friend. Like we have so much fun together. I got this awesome friend who equally is passionate about helping people and helping our community grow and develop. I mean, it's so cool to be surrounded by like-minded individuals that also understand your day-to-day reality and struggle. And that's with anything we're struggling with, though, whether it be us with our spinal cord injury, somebody with a different disability, somebody with a divorce. If you make friends going through the same thing you're going through, it makes it a hell of a lot easier on those bad days.
You both mentioned meditation as one of the ways that, and I don't think that's just a wheel exclusive thing. I think everyone can benefit from that.
Yeah.
Brandon, tell me about what does meditation look like to you? How do you do that?
Yeah. So for me, like I said, my mind was always racing and I could never really get a hold of it and calm it down. And it seemed like those thoughts were never usually going towards something positive. It would always go towards some negative story, some narrative I was telling myself, whatever it may be, whether it's a girl problem or being in a wheelchair problem or some conversation I had with somebody and it didn't go the way I wanted it to. So taking meditation for me I was going through a tough part in my life, not that long ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, going through a breakup, going through not being able to keep a steady job at the time through my own fault and just kind of like suffering. And I had this moment where I looked in the mirror and I was like, man, you haven't done anything to progress yourself as a human being since you stopped going to school. Usually we just go to school and after we're done with school, we think that's kind of like it for our education and growing as a person. And I feel like a lot of people get stuck in a rut of not, I would say blossoming, I guess. They kind of get stuck as that same person. And so meditation for me really allowed me to, first of all, just be grateful for what I did have, as well as just kind of get control of my thoughts. And I do a 10 to 15 minute meditation. Usually I have a YouTube playlist that has about 20 different meditations on it. So it ranges from, like I said, mindfulness, gratitude to morning meditations to meditations going to sleep to calm you down, whatever it may be. And I'll start one of those off and I'll just lay in bed or I'll be sitting in my wheelchair and I'll close my eyes. And it's good. A lot of people don't ever slow down. A lot of people are just going, what's my next task? What am I going to do next? That's fun. What's going on? What's going wrong? Like nobody really ever gets the time just to settle down and just take a deep breath in and breathe out and just kind of be grateful for where they are right now and the things that they do have. And it's really just given me a lot of peace of mind. It's made me be able to focus on the things that really do matter. And I've really seen results in my business and the people I surround myself with now, my overall happiness, my energy, just in general, things have changed so much for the better because of meditation.
Jesi,
The people you surround yourself with, that's a big one. That's a really, really big one. I noticed that in the beginning of my injury, I was partying a lot and going out and, doing all the things that we do, right? And when I changed my group of friends, my entire mindset changed. I surround myself with people that are into fitness, people that want to have their own business or are growing or developing a brand, people that are passionate about having a good diet. It's all about who you surround yourself with truly affects where you go in life. And people don't realize how powerful that is.
Jesi, it sounds like that's more important to you than even the meditation we're talking about.
Oh, no. Meditation, honestly, it's all important to me. Like meditation's a must. If I get out of that routine, I feel off. I'm not mentally in the zone. I'm not operating on 100% if I don't do my meditation and now visualization. I have a routine. And if I deviate from that too much, I'm done. Mentally, I would have to do a whole reset again. It's crazy because, you get caught up and you get in that pattern.
Just before we started recording, you were telling me you kind of developed or been working with a new routine every day. You have a system that so many things you have to do, and it's kind of changed your life for you, it sounds like.
The key is sticking to that schedule. So the 75 hard, not a lot of people are familiar with it. Andy Frisella, he has a podcast called Real AF. He also is the owner of First Form. It's a supplement company, which I didn't know. I knew about the podcast before First Form. But 75 Hard is a program where you do 2 45-minute workouts a day. One of them has to be outside. You read 10 pages of educational content, bettering content. You drink a gallon of water, you take a progress photo, and you pick a diet and stick to it. And so I adapted it for my bum shoulders, and I was only doing 2 20-minute workouts a day. Now I'm up to 30 minutes. So I do 2 30-minute workouts a day, and I made it 3 full weeks. And then I fell off with the progress pictures. That's the one thing I always forget, but it's just made me more mindful about what I'm putting in my body. It's like I'm really sticking to my Whole30, just whole foods, low processed foods, and just real good stuff. Finally, like low sugar, all of that. And then I'm getting the water I need, which is key. Us wheelchair users, Brandon knows, we suck at taking care of ourselves, and we suck at getting the amount of water we need. And the reading, obviously you're developing. It creates a pattern, and then you get into this habit, and then you create a standard for yourself, and you hold yourself to the standard of this is what I need to accomplish each day. And then that mirrors itself into your personal life, into your business. And so now I'm like, this is what I need to accomplish each day in my business. And it's literally mirrored in every aspect of my life. It's been a complete game changer.
Yeah. And to touch on that real quick, if you don't mind, she had that where she found her or her inspiration from. For me, it was a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F by Mark Manson. That was the one for me that really, everything's about accountability and responsibility, essentially. A lot of people get caught blaming everybody else for where they are in life, or if they would have had this, they would be somewhere else, or if they had this opportunity like that person had, they would be doing what they're doing. But it's really just all on you, and just being able to set, like Jesi said, like those goals. And like when you set that standard for yourself, it really just kind of translates into your life and how you feel about yourself as a person. You start to feel good. You start to feel like you deserve certain things, and those things start to come a little bit easier. It's definitely, if you don't put the work in, there's no way that you're going to manifest or really truly believe that you deserve what you're working towards. And I really try to treat business like I did with motocross, which was training and being focused and being the most confident person I could be, so that I knew I was going to go out there and win, that nobody else is going to beat me. And I try to do the same thing with my business, is training, making sure my mind's right, making sure I'm eating right, so I have the energy to get through my stuff. I'm not foggy brained. I'm not drinking during the week usually. Sometimes, you got to go celebrate a little bit. But, normally like during the week, I'm not consuming alcohol because I can't wake up the next day and not be focused or have my brain working the way that it should be. So it all kind of it works together. There's a lot of synergy between all that stuff.
You guys are both super optimistic. I got to think that there's days though where it's just like this sucks. Like, can you give yourself permission to have like a bad day?
Yeah, absolutely. I have bad days. Well, I haven't really had bad days in a long time.
It's a bad moment. You don't like that. Yeah, you're like, it's like a moment. You're like, man, this sucks. And then you kind of forget about how bad it sucks because something cool comes along, or you move on to the next activity. I think, Brandon, you're really good at this, like not staying in a situation, not staying in a certain mindset. It's like, okay, you have it happens, you address it, and then boom, you move forward.
Yeah, it just goes back to the whole accountability, responsibility thing. When you manifest your own future, how you feel. If you want to be negative and be down, then you know that it's going to trail with you the whole day, and you're going to affect the other people that you're around, and they're not going to be fun around you at all either. And it's a big snowball effect. And I'd rather my snowball pick up some great velocity and head in the right direction and do what it's supposed to do, honestly. Like you said, there's definitely bad moments sometimes. I really haven't had too many in a long time. I've really come to accept where I am right now. And sometimes, like if I fall or whatever, I have that, I kind of just laugh at myself. I'm like, well, shit, this is like your life now. So it is what it is. But everybody has bad moments. No, everybody's going through something in their life personally, like Jesi said, whether it's divorce or something else, or they're struggling in school or struggling to pay bills. And everybody can always fix that too. There's always a way out of it. I've always felt that way, even as a kid, because I used to get in a lot of trouble as a kid, and I tried to hide things and do stuff like that. So I always felt like there was a way around certain things. Like, we could fix this. There's a way to fix it. So that's always kind of been my take on things, was there's a way to fix this.
I want to talk to you guys about a couple things you're working with, but last thing before we move on, Jesi, what would you, or Brent, let's start with Brent. Brandon, what would you say to someone who recently had an accident, or maybe a loved one had an accident, and they're like, you know what, I just don't know what's the first thing I need to do, or what's maybe one piece of advice you could give them?
Great question, because I feel like everybody's journey is going to be different. Everybody's injury is a little bit different. I know somebody that's the same level injury as I am. He actually got hurt racing a motocross bike as well, and he can feel his legs. Actually, he can't move them. Like, he has no control over his legs. And so I feel like everybody, and it's like the same thing with business, is don't compare yourself to other people and how their journey's going and where they're at. A lot of times what you see, what people are putting out there, is a facade or a fake. It's always just the good stuff, and you never know when they're having a bad day. And I would say it's okay to have bad days. I would say embrace the bad days. It's what makes us human, the fact that we can feel these certain feelings that we feel: love, sadness, pittiness, all that stuff, being empathetic. It's what makes you human. So you just got to embrace those bad days and just know that the next day might be completely different. Like, you never know what the next day is going to bring you, and just to not give up and give yourself some goals and some things to work towards and get yourself focused on something. That really helps. When you set some goals towards yourself, you start to feel better about yourself, honestly. Like, it's like exercise. And once you get done with that workout, no matter how much you don't want to do it leading up to it, like, once you get done with it, even though you're tired and sore or whatever, you just feel good. Like, your spirit's up a little bit. Like, there's something different because you went and accomplished something that was hard. And humans aren't happy without sadness, and humans aren't happy without obstacles and things to overcome. We'll be depressed if we didn't have these hard days. We'd never appreciate our good days. So just take them all in stride, pretty much. Just take it in stride.
Yes.
Things will get better. Get you some good friends, and that's about it.
It's like Brandon just said, if every day is good, then it's just normal. Good's just normal. So you don't have good days. You have to struggle. That's where your lesson is. You have to go through shit to get to the light. That is where you grow. That's where the growth is. That's where everything comes from. Like, the destination's cool and reaching your goals is cool, but that whole entire road there, that's what it's about. That path it gives you just so much. The perspective. I think that's the biggest thing, just having a good perspective to know that if you work hard, good things will come to you, and just really focus on being the best version of you, helping others. I think the biggest thing my injury gave me was my passion for helping others, because before I lived life so selfishly. It was about, what can I do for me? How can I grow for me? And now I'm like, what could I do to really help someone else grow and develop and get where they want to get? Having the goals and having something to work towards.
Speaking of things you're working on, you guys are working with a couple of groups that I want to talk about. One is iAccess. Brandon, what is iAccess?
Yeah, so iAccess Life is a company I started. And just for anybody that's out there trying to start a company, I had no business background. I was one of the people in school that just did enough to get by. Mostly did all my homework because I never checked that for correctness. They just do a completion grade on it. So that really helped my average towards the end of the year. So I started this because after I got out of the hospital, like I said, I wanted my life to be normal. I wanted to go out, hang out with people. And I didn't want that, I guess that just people looking at me essentially. If I couldn't get into places, somebody needs to like pick me up and help me out and do all this stuff. Like I didn't want that attention pretty much. I just wanted to be able to cruise on in and just be out of sight, out of mind. I've never been somebody that's wanted a lot of attention. I'm very introverted naturally, and I like to stick to myself. I don't like to make a whole bunch of noise essentially. So I started to go places as I got older and moving out of my little bubble of Johns Creek, Georgia, which was relatively new at the time, where things were pretty accessible besides the city not being that walkable. Like you can't really get around easily without a car. I started to notice that there was a lack of accessibility from place to place. I would go somewhere with friends, not be able to get in. I'd go on a date, have a few drinks, and then the next thing I know, I can't get to the bathroom because the door's too skinny. And I had to like all of a sudden scramble and try to find another location that might be accessible for me to get to the bathroom. And by then it's too late. And so I just got tired of those frustrations and wondering why we didn't have something at our fingertips. It just made so much sense that for people that really need to plan things out and kind of know where they're going, how come we don't have a rating on the bathroom or the entrance or the interior space, just to make sure that we don't feel, I guess, out of place or dumb whenever we're doing something. So about a year ago, was able to launch this mobile application called iAccess Life on iOS and Android. We've amassed we're actually over 4,000 unique places rated in like 45 states and 30 different countries. And we're just growing every day. And it's been really cool. That's just the beginning of what we're trying to do. We recently partnered up with a company called Passport, which allow you to pay for your parking through our mobile application. And from there, they have a lot of connections to the cities around the world. I think 75 different cities. And what we're trying to do is kind of take over the parking inventory, the handicap parking inventory, so that people that park in those spots or that park in the stripes, we take care of that.
I downloaded the app this morning and I was checking it out. It's kind of like a Yelp for accessibility. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. And from there, we plan to expand and up our offering, our value proposition for our customers so that they can book, open table reservation and make sure that their seating is handicap accessible, get an Uber Lyft to wherever they're trying to go and make sure it's a handicap accessible vehicle, book a hotel, book concert tickets, whatever it may be, show you where to go skiing or scuba diving, kayaking, kind of get you going to these events and accessible festivals and things of that nature. And just, I'd met a lot of people at Shepherd Center that didn't have the luxury that I have of going, hey, I was doing something that was dangerous. This is my life now. How do we adjust? A lot of people, I met a guy that went on spring break, and his first day on spring break, he hopped into the ocean and hit a sandbar. And all of a sudden he's paralyzed from the neck down. And that can really take a lot out of people, especially people that have never gone through adversity of injury before. And now all of a sudden their life is completely flipped upside down. And from the outside looking in, a lot of people look at those with disabilities as they like to stay inside. They don't go out and party. They don't have a good time. They're kind of just down all the time, but that's not true. And so I really wanted to take this and kind of show people my personality and the kind of life that you can live, as well as just bridge the gap from normal community to the disabled community, essentially, and bring in more regular organizations and corporations that, we as people with disabilities still like to be a part of.
And Jesi, one of the ways you're working with iAccess is with another program called Purposity. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Jesi, tell me about Purposity.
So Purposity is a really cool app. It's a platform for nonprofits to bring awareness to others and grow. And then you as an individual can support causes that you're passionate about. And you can set up a recurring donation or you can do a one-time donation. But it's for you as an individual to set goals to donate to causes. So if you, for example, a lot of people have a resolution. It's like, I want to donate $20 to a nonprofit a month. This app gives you that opportunity. And so for us with Wheel With Me Foundation, they're giving us a platform to get 600 followers is what we need. And then we can start granting individuals. Our cause is to give individuals the padded shower chairs and extended shower heads that insurance often doesn't cover.
And Wheel With Me is your foundation. We've talked about it before. Tell me more about Wheel With Me.
So Wheel With Me Foundation's goal is to serve the independence of wheelchair users as a whole. There's a disconnect in the entire wheelchair using community. People that get MS later in life and they progressively get into a wheelchair and they have no idea how to transfer themselves because they don't get rehab. You have people with spina bifida that, no harm to their parents, but their parents have this idea of disability and they've been raised a certain way their whole life. And then they're in their 30s with no license or no independence. And so it's serving people's independence to stop relying on government assistance in the confines of what are set up for us and really get out and start living life and finding a passion and living a full, purposeful life. That's the biggest thing that we want to give back to wheelchair users.
So people can download the iAccess app. They can download Purposity. Purposity is a way to donate to nonprofits like Wheel With Me. And then what's the relationship? How is Wheel With Me and iAccess? Like, what's the kind of connecting tissue there?
Yeah, I'll take the lead on that. So iAccess, we're a technology startup. We're a mobile application that you can download to start rating places, as well as if you want to look up a place, you can go filters and set a minimum accessibility and a distance, and it'll show you the places around you that have been rated. Depending on where you're at, there may not be too much data out there yet. We're still growing. We're still trying. So make sure you leave some ratings for us. And we are kind of in this tech startup space down in Atlanta. There's a lot of people that move. It's a small little hub, so everybody knows everybody essentially. And I was on a panel one day at Emory. We were speaking about social entrepreneurship startups. And there was a guy there named Blake who had started the company Purposity, and the name comes from purpose and generosity. So I just heard his story and what he was doing with that company. And I always wanted to give back more and kind of see where my money was going. When you get to the bigger organizations, it's just kind of like a drop in the pond, and you don't really see what happens and like what you're really helping out for, where that money's going towards. And so being able to download this Purposity app, you can help people in your community that, like just the other day, I helped some people that needed some clothes for school, or somebody needs some new shoes and things of that nature. So you can donate $10, $15, 20, 30, 80, whatever it is that you were looking to donate. And it's an easy way of just kind of giving back. And then as soon as that need is met, they send you like a message saying, hey, your product is on the way to this person. You're about to make this person's day, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And it's just a good feeling, when you put good out, you get good back in, and it's a great thing. So what I wanted to do, because when I was growing up, I'd seen a lot of people that didn't have insurance. They came from families with less, lower income families. And this kind of injury is life-changing for not just the person that goes through it, but for the family as well. A lot of people, especially people that end up being quadriplegics, need around-the-clock care. They need people to help them brush their teeth, get them out of bed, get them changed. And if you don't have the funds or the insurance to have somebody come to your house and take care of you, you have to do all that stuff yourself, and then you have to quit your job and you start to run out of money. And I was just like, I want to give back to these people that don't have the benefits and the things that I had. Like I said, my parents and my family, I was in a very lucky position that they were able to set me up with everything I needed. So when I came home, it was just seamless for me to get in there. Not everybody has that luxury. And so I reached out to Purposity, and I was like, I want to find a way to give back to the community by providing, like, what can we do to help out, and what they like to do is they don't like to do like a crowdfunding type of platform. They like to do things that people can easily pay for. One person can go buy a shower wand or some grab bars for somebody, spend $50, $30, whatever it may be. The higher purchases that Jesi was talking about, it's a padded shower bench that's maybe $200, $250. But I was wondering how we could give back. And we started talking about it, and I know that I needed a nonprofit organization so that I could be on the platform. And that's where I reached out to Jesi, because I knew that her organization worked so much with giving people their independence back and helping them get back to normal life. And it only seemed right that we worked together. So if you go onto the Purposity app, if you download that, you can click at the organizations on the bottom, search Wheel With Me, and follow us. And once we reach that 600 follower mark, we can start giving back to the community.
Okay, so tell me that one more time. If someone's listening and they say, you know what, this is a good cause, I want to help out a little bit. Maybe I want to donate $5. Maybe I just want to follow and get more information. What should they do?
Go to the iOS store or the Android store or Google Play Store, whatever it's called now, and you can download Purposity, Purposity. and you can start giving back today. There's organizations you can follow. I think they do a location, like they pick up where your location is, and they can kind of tell you what's going on in your area, kind of provide you with a feed of things that are going on, whether it's a school district that needs help with something or a mom that needs help with something. And it just kind of gives you all these levels of different various amounts of donations, like how much you need to donate to help this person out. And you can start donating there. And then to help us to the point that we can start donating and giving stuff back to these people, we need you guys to go to the organizations button at the bottom of that app, search Wheel with Me, and then follow us. And once we reach 600 people, we can start giving back and helping people get these shower benches and wands and things that they need to live their life.
And that's just follow, like hit the follow button, no money required. You need to hit a certain number of followers to be able to do something. Is that right?
Yeah, 600 followers. And then that's when the money will come in, where we can start allowing people to buy these things for these people that need it.
That's awesome. Well, Jesse, what are your thoughts there on the working with these organizations?
Well, Brandon, I mean, he's a close friend. So obviously working with him, I'm super pumped. We've partnered on a few things, and we're continuing to talk about partnering on more as time goes by. And it's cool to make such good friends that are going through the same thing with the same passions that you have. Proposity, it's an awesome app. I'm actually on there, and I've searched some local organizations, and I've been able to give back locally. And I think that's something that we all should do to support our local communities. So honestly, if people would just follow Wheel With Me Foundation on Proposity, like Brandon said, you just hit the organization search button and search Wheel With Me and wheel with us.
That's awesome. Well, guys, are we going to see you on a Tough Mudder course in 2021?
That's my goal. I already talked to Eric about it.
I guess now you put me on the spot, I better be on one in 2021. I think it would make great content, and I'm trying to do things to show the world that what we could do. So, man, I guess sign me up. Sign me up.
So Jesse did the 24-hour race. You don't have to start with a 24-hour race. You can start with like a regular, there's a 5K, there's a 10-miler. You can
start me on the bunny slopes, please.
You can ease into it. There's no pressure there. Well, Brandon, any last thoughts before we go?
No, I really appreciate you having us on. I think we covered everything that's following Proposity, or following Wheel With Me on Proposity. Don't forget to download the iAccess Life app, start rating and reviewing places so that people can know where to go, as well as if you want to find a place to go as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We got some really cool stuff coming. Check out our website, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and just keep up with what we're doing. And hopefully we can provide some value to you. And I'll let Jesse close it out for me.
Jesse, how can people follow you guys on social media?
I do want to say it's important that you guys download iAccess, and we have to create the database as a community. And so it's so important that we get on there and we rate and review. I know it's hard to kind of remember when you're somewhere, but just trying to have that mindfulness to be like, you know what, this place is accessible. I want people to come here. Or, wow, I really don't want a wheelchair user to come here and have a bad experience. You can find us at Wheel With Me on all social media. You can find me at Jesi Stracham. That's JESISTRACHAM. You can check out my fitness clothing line on my website, jesistracham.com. And I have a small store on there. And a portion of your proceeds go back to Wheel With Me Foundation.
Jesse, can you spell Stracham for people?
STRACHAM.
And Brandon, I didn't ask you, how can people follow you on social media?
Simple. Brandon Winfield on Facebook, and at BMW. Those are my initials. Brandon Michael Winfield, 937.
Brandon Winfield and Jesi Stracham. Thanks much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Special thanks to Jesi Stracham and Brandon Winfield for appearing in today's episode. Well done, you two. Don't forget to text me at 619-485-2726. 619-485-2726. World's toughest text line. Very excited about that. Don't forget to download the Proposity app and search for Wheel With Me. Follow them. Also, the iAccess app. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. lovethepodcast.com/tough. I will talk with you soon. Go spend time with someone you love.